Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hope. I'm a marine biologist and on this channel we learn all about the marine environment. I recently had the opportunity to join researchers looking for an endangered species called the white abalone. In today's video, I'm going to introduce you to the white abalone, talk about why it's endangered and what scientists are doing to save this species. I also have some cool underwater footage to share with you. So, let's dive in. This is a white abalone. They are a type of marine snail. Abalones are distinct because their shell is oval-shaped and domed, with a row of holes that are used for respiration, waste removal, and reproduction. Underneath their shell is a foot, a large muscle that they use to move around and adhere to rocks. Their tentacles allow them to sense their environment, to detect food or predators. There used to be millions of white abalone along the coast of California and Mexico. Native people in California ate and traded white abalone for thousands of years. Their trade routes even extended east of the Mississippi River. Unfortunately, commercial fishing decimated the population. Surveys in Southern California show that the population has decreased by 99% since the 1970s. California closed the white abalone fishery in 1997, but it may have been too late. Scientists estimate that if the Southern California population is left alone, it will continue to decrease by 10% every year. Now, there are approximately 1,600 to 2,500 white abalone left in the wild. White abalone were listed as endangered under the Endangered Species Act in 2001. In fact, they were the first marine invertebrate to be listed under this act. Currently, the largest threat facing white abalone recovery is their low rate of reproduction. Abalone are broadcast spawners. This means that they release their eggs and sperm into the open water. One female abalone can release up to 10 million eggs at a time, but unless they come into contact with sperm, they will not be fertilized. And with numbers so low, it is unlikely that they will be able to breed in the wild. Now let's talk about their conservation. NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, has partnered with more than a dozen government agencies, universities, and aquariums to save the white abalone, and they are taking these 4 major steps. The first is their captive breeding program. This program has been successfully breeding and raising white abalone since 2012. Now they are producing tens of thousands of baby abalone every year. The next step is releasing white abalone into the wild through their outplanting program. NOAA and its partners began experimental outplantings in 2019. They placed hundreds of white abalone into temporary homes made specifically to protect the animals as they acclimate to oceanic conditions. Divers regularly visit them to monitor their growth and survival. The third step is to monitor the wild populations. Researchers monitor wild white abalone habitats to track the recovery of the population over time. They are even developing genetic techniques to track individual animals. The final step is public outreach and education. This is where I got involved. The Wanted Alive White Abalone campaign is a campaign to encourage recreational divers to look for white abalone and report their sightings. As part of this campaign, I was invited on a citizen science monitoring trip. The goal of this trip was to survey the presence of all abalone species. While we were really hopeful to find a white abalone, there are historically 7 species of abalone that live in this area, and all of them are very rare. We went diving in the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary. There were 10 teams of divers, and we surveyed areas along a transect line looking for abalone. The first dive site was not a suitable habitat for abalone. The ground was crawling with brittle stars, and there was very little algae for abalone to feed on. But we did get a show from this curious sea lion. The second dive site was beautiful, a classic Southern California kelp forest habitat with giant kelp and lots of diversity. We searched everywhere for abalone, looking very carefully in the crevices. Unfortunately, we did not find any white abalone on this trip. Scientists will have to do everything they can over the next few years to ensure that we don't lose these beautiful and culturally significant animals. However, we did spot this rare pink abalone, meaning that this location was providing the resources needed to support white abalone in the future. If you are a diver in Southern California, you can help the Wanted Alive White Abalone campaign by submitting photos and documenting the location of any abalone species that you find. For more information on how to identify individual species and what data to collect, visit findinghal.org. If you are not a scuba diver, don't worry, they have something for you too. You can visit an interactive white abalone exhibit at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach. NOAA and its partners are committed to protecting and rebuilding the white abalone populations in California and Mexico. If you'd like to learn more about white abalone conservation, I have placed some links in the description box below. I am very grateful to have been invited on this dive trip so that I could share this information with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!